And our next speaker is Tuuli Jõesaar from Estonia. Hello, Tuuli, tere. Oh, nice. Her research focuses on archaeological leather, especially medieval footwear. So, maybe she will answer for the questions about the shoes. On what these objects can tell about us about the past, craftsmanship and daily life. Today she will speak on the Pattens and Mules and the greatest challenge for conservators. So, please welcome, Tuuli.
Thank you and good morning. My name is Tuuli Jõesaar. I am PhD student at the Estonian Academy of Arts and I work as an archaeological leather specialist at the TLU Archaeological Leather Collection. Today I will discuss whether Pattens and Mules can be considered one of the greatest challenges for conservators. So I invite you on a journey into medieval, late medieval footwear, following the footsteps of Pattens and Mules. So, at a first glance, we can see a simple object, a piece of leather, straps like attached to the wooden sole. But from a conservation perspective, this simple object becomes surprisingly complex. To understand why these objects matter, Pattens and Mules, they were part of everyday urban life. They were used in daily movement to the city, and this is reflected in the archaeological material, where these finds are mainly associated with urban context. They reflect environmental conditions, particularly wet and uneven ground, and their function directly shapes their design. At the same time, they show technological development with variation in construction and design. And importantly, they were also part of dress and fashion. In their historical context, they carried social and cultural meaning. First, a brief distinction between Pattens and Mules. Pattens on the left side are open footwear with straps or a band over the instep. They were worn over leather shoes, primarily as outdoor overshoes, protecting them from mud and moisture. Later in the 15th century, pattens were slowly replaced by mules, which on the other hand have a closed vamp and open heel. Mules were mostly indoor footwear, but were also worn over the leather shoes, occasionally outdoors, and they are also associated with comfort and fashion. Although they have slightly different function, one coming after another, both types share similar construction principles. So, we can distinguish between different construction approaches in pattens. Wooden-soled pattens, on the left side again, have a solid carved wooden sole with leather straps or band fixed to the sole. In the middle, we can see a cork sole covered pattern, and this is resulting in a more complex layered construction. Although mules differ in their upper construction, they have a closed vamp instead of straps or band, but they share similar techniques in sole construction. So, already here we can see variation in how these objects are constructed. Up to this point, these objects may still appear relatively simple, but from a conservation perspective, the real challenge lies in their material composition. Pattens and Mules combine multiple materials: wood, leather, cork, metal, textile, sometimes, not often. Each of these materials behave differently, sometimes in completely incompatible ways. They respond differently to moisture and differently to conservation treatments. And this creates conflicting conservation requirements. So, there is no single technical solution. These materials cannot be treated in the same way. To understand this more clearly, we can take the pattern apart. We are dealing with different materials, each with its own behavior. Leather tends to shrink and lose flexibility. Metal fittings corrode, causing staining and structural weakness. And the wooden or cork sole can warp or crack or fragment. So each material deteriorates in a different way. All of these materials are physically connected in one object. And this is exactly the situation we encounter in archaeological material. In Estonia, Pattens and Mules are mainly known from urban archaeological contexts, particularly in Tallinn. Overall, they are relatively rare finds. However, the Kalamaja site located at Jahu 6, Väike-Patarei 1, depicted in the picture in the little circle there, provides the largest assemblage currently known. And in this presentation, I will refer to this material as the Kalamaja assemblage. And this assemblage forms the basis for the examples I will show next. Here we see examples from the Kalamaja assemblage. The preservation varies considerably, from isolated fragments such as insoles to more complete objects, where different components are still visible. In some cases, only individual elements survive, while in other parts, like vamp or sole structure, are still preserved. But importantly, even in these conditions, they still retain the multi-material structure we discussed before. And within this assemblage, we can also identify something particularly interesting: a pattern style that does not correspond to existing typologies. Within the Kalamaja assemblage, we identified a previously undocumented pattern style. It is defined by several diagnostic characteristics. The straps are positioned near the toe, which are trapezoidal. There is a distinctive triangular vent, and straps are fastened with a leather-braided fastening. Importantly, this style appears both in wooden sole and leather-covered cork constructions. This combination does not fit within existing typologies. This indicates a previously unrecognized variation within this footwear group. But in practice, working with these objects is rarely this clear. And one of the main reasons for that is the way they survive in archaeological contexts. In reality, we rarely encounter complete patterns or mules. Most finds survive as fragments, soles, straps, or isolated components. These fragments are often stored separately by material type, which makes reconstruction and therefore interpretation rather difficult. All these issues come together in conservation practice. We are dealing with multiple materials, each behaving differently, objects that are often deformed and unstable, and finds that are fragmented and difficult to reconstruct. This also involves ethical decisions and the careful handling of fragile materials. So these challenges are not separate, they are all interconnected. But the challenge is not only the technical, it is also about decisions. Should we prioritize wood or leather? Each material requires different treatment, and every choice has consequences. These materials have incompatible needs, and there is no neutral solution. And sometimes the best intervention is no intervention. But these decisions are not only about preserving materials, they are also about preserving meaning. These objects are not just materials. Their shape and construction carry meaning. They help us understand fashion and craftsmanship. And because styles change relatively quickly, they can also provide chronological information. But this meaning is not always immediately visible in archaeological material. It has to be reconstructed through conservation, documentation, and careful interpretation. So while we are dealing with fragments and materials, we are ultimately working with objects that carry cultural meaning. To bring this all together, Pattens and Mules are complex, multi-material objects. They combine multiple conservation challenges, from material interaction to deformation and fragmentation, and ultimately require case-by-case decisions. In this sense, they function as benchmark objects for conservation methods and expertise. By following these footsteps, we gain a deeper understanding, not only the past, but also of the challenges we face in preserving it. So, I have a small request for all you guys. If anyone is aware of local paintings or sculptures depicting medieval footwear in your regions, I would be very grateful to hear about them. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Tuuli. And it's really a very interesting presentation, not only about archaeological findings, but also we can see how is the fashion was in the medievals. And maybe somebody has a question? Okay, I have the question about the reconstruction decision about reconstruction as a copy of these shoes. Do you have some intentions to make it, or you already have it?
I don't have, not yet, but I was already almost making the copy of the wooden patterns. Actually, supposedly it is kind of simple object, right? Just you need wooden soles and straps, but you have to carve this sole, and that was what stopped me, because I'm not a wood carver, I'm just a leather worker. So yes, I haven't not yet made myself a pair of Revalia patterns.
Thank you. And here is some copies, reconstructed copies.
Yes.
Very, very interesting, very nice, but it's not normal size. So what is the size?
These are actually, yes, reconstruction from the real archaeological find. This is Tallinn style. The poster about this style is also a new style about in this footwear category, which we described based on Jahu Kalamaja assemblage. And the poster is upstairs if you are interested. And interestingly, in this assemblage, there were lots of small shoes, like children's shoes and small women's sizes. And there was no like big men's sizes, like really big ones. And yes, I believe that they were also like painted, like they are now. So they should be like quite close to original.
Yeah, thank you. It's very, very perfect. Very amazing work. Anybody has a question? No?
I would like to ask a question here. You said that it's a new type of a footwear, but based on what? How big area is your search area, or on what do you make the decision that this is a new type, or is it based on just? Sorry.
Style.
Yes.
Sorry. In Conservators there is like types. Types are pattens, mules, and leather shoes, and they divide into different styles. And so. To answer your questions, this for a while.
Can you go closer to the microphone then?
Yeah, sorry. I started the first style what I was identifying was Tallinn style. So basically, I started from Poland because there was one Tallinn style shoe previously described but not published, and so I ran through, like I wrote to Latvia, I wrote to Lithuania, I wrote to Sweden, Finland, and there was no answer coming back. So in Kalamaja assemblage, it is the largest of Tallinn style. There is like over 100 examples, and Revalia is also was the same. I browsed through all of the published archaeological leather finds where this could be. I found some from Netherlands, for example, and one in Poland. But like if it's not published, and one example cannot be like the new style. But in Tallinn Kalamaja assemblage there is like 12 examples of Revalia pattern straps, and both in wooden and cork-sole constructions. And how you determine the new style, basically many styles are already described, and you look to the general appearance, as I was describing, what shape are the straps, how they are, what relation is with the sole, the straps and sole, and where they are positions, what is the fastening type, if any. And you look that kind of characteristics, and then you can determine, is it a new style or not? Does it fit at some category what you already have or not? So.
Thank you.
Anybody has? Yeah, Kulike has a question.
Hi, Tuuli. Today we have summer boots, winter boots, rain boots. How it was back then?
Thank you for the good question. Actually, this is a very interesting topic, because basically, what they had, they didn't have like we have different materials. They had only leather, cork, and wood. So basically, it was they wore leather shoes throughout the year, and like for muddy or wet conditions, they wore pattens, mostly wood sole pattens. Leather-covered cork sole pattens were worn mostly indoors. But there are some constructions, like from, I guess, Vilnius, there was like double-soled, also cork-soled leather shoes, which were like with a thick leather sole, or cork sole was it. And in Tallinn collection, there is also some, Kalamajas and plus there is some winter shoes which have like leather lining inside them. Maybe this gave some additional layering. But mostly they just insulated their feet with woolen, not socks, but stockings, yes.
Thank you, Tuuli. And if Nobody has questions. Maybe the questions will arise later in breaks. And thank you, Tuuli, for your presentation. Thank you.